wrestling fans, it is now time to enter Main Event City!
Hey everybody, Walter Fulbright with Journey Pro here for our first exciting episode of real life Zweihanders, a match made in hell with our superstar professional wrestler players. Remember, we're doing this as so exciting they're able to join us. We're doing this entirely to help people out, make a little extra money while we're all stuck inside. There's only so many video games we can beat. There's only so many things we can do, and this is a really fun opportunity. So this will be the first time that everybody will have their own real character, and we're going to play it from the very beginning. You can see that thanks to the Grim and Perilous Studios people, we have a nice new overlay, and we got our fancy shit up. But I'm going to stop blabbing, and I'm going to leave it to the players in the order that I see them on my screen. So I'm going to go to Mr. Shug over here on what is my stage left. How are you doing, sir?
Hola! How is everybody? Shug D, aka Pineapple Pete, whatever you want to call me. Just spell it right on the check. Yes.
And Sophie King, how are you today?
I'm doing good. It's not trying to kill me like the weather was yesterday, so hopefully I'll have smooth internet as opposed to last night.
That will be good. Yeah, hopefully. I know we had some technical issues with this last time, and we're hoping that that will be resolved. But that being said, our Grim and Perilous hosts are saving the hard copies, so if it does pixelate, we will definitely have a good backup this time, which, we'll talk about that some other time because I screwed it up. I want you to notice that Dark Sheik has an amazing eye patch, as well as Sophie King had a great cloak, but took it off. We don't know what's happening there, but
it's sweaty. It's so sweaty.
I know. I hear you. Sheik, how are you tonight? Or this
Doing
early
great,
afternoon for you in California?
Yeah, it's 3:30 over here, and I'm doing very well. Enjoying life. Excited to play this, like way more every time.
Cool. That is very good. And I think people have really enjoyed like what they've seen, and this is going to be the first time we ever really get to sort of dig in, because obviously, when we're establishing if it's going to be a one-time thing, there's only a certain amount of effort you want to put into that. But now it's time to go deep, y'all.
Hard to go home,
Exactly.
So many times. Oh, so many.
And Mr. Anton Voorhees also here with us. How are you,
Hello.
sir?
That's me. I'm here. I'm well. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a delight.
That is awesome. So, yeah, I think that since we only play till 7, I think it's probably best if we just get this going. Hopefully the stream will have the ominous music up. I want to set the stage for everybody. For those who didn't remember, last time we made characters that were very, very different from the gladiatorial combat that we started with. And the only hint that I gave everybody was that these characters bear the legacy of sort of the dark fantasy equivalent of Original Sin, which is that the characters from their original game were complicit in some event that has caused the world to fall into severe decay and disrepair. And all of you are sort of fated and bound to undo it if possible, potentially die trying, potentially go mad trying, because that's kind of what the Grim and Perilous Zweihander RPG is all about. You could probably tell as we went through the character process that it doesn't always end well.
My character starts sad. It's only
with the bad eye, and we'll let all that stuff kind of come out naturally in the game. But I want to set the simple stage for where it is, which is I mentioned that all of you were conscripted and summoned basically sort of against your will to travel to a place to find out what the telling was. None of you had met each other before. You came from a wide swath of lives and places that will color in as the game goes on. But all of you are being sent to a place that is called Knight's Home, which is a forest enclave. It used to be like a holy place where monks would meditate and find spiritual awareness. Now it is only used as a place to pass judgment, and it is notable because it sits high above a bluff, and it looks down upon the field where the Battle of the End took place, which was a great gladiatorial combat that ended up bleeding out the world, essentially. So it looks upon a great world scar. So they bring people there for high court, even though its population has dwindled basically from a couple of thousand down to maybe 100. There's no way to get there other than to travel from the port city of Terelda, which you have left just 3 days before, with a single cart master, 3 teamsters, a quartermaster who divvies out the supplies to you, and the 4 of you on an empty, dead road. The season is early spring. You sort of hear the crunch of the fresh ground before the rainfall really starts to come, and you basically walk alongside each other and make each other's company as best you can, because, well, this is all you've got. And a curious cast of characters indeed. Every morning kind of feels the same. You're already kind of getting sick of the food. They obviously don't know how to deal much with one of the people among you. You notice the most curious is that there is a sort of awkward and very shy ogre, towers over the rest of you by several feet. And they have no idea how much food to provide the ogre at all. It's obvious that they have planned under accordingly for how much it is that an ogre has to consume just to stay alive. But it's not dire. Nobody's in, fear of starvation or anything like that. So, Sophie, why don't you take it away and explain yourselves to the others and sort of get us going.
All right. So the shy ogre that's eating more than his fair share in question is Dave with the PH. He's a 9-foot-tall, 750-pound behemoth. He's been, prior to now, having a pretty good gig, killing it pretty literally at the arena, and then doing casual security at a brothel in the evening, just for getting his room, board, and food. And previously just eating halfling brothel at a house and home, and was doing him just fine. And so now he's not adjusting to rationed travel food very well. He doesn't pay much attention in conversations because he doesn't understand most of it. He's just looking forward to the next mealtime most hours of the day.
The ogre seems familiar to one of the rest of you too. There is a sort of effete gentleman of some sophistication and curiosity who carries himself with an air of intellectualism and wit. and has a sort of his own background that actually ties to Dave. Shug, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Dumas de la Soul is a investigator who had some level of, I guess, notoriety at one point as being one of the greatest investigators of his time. Like in his day, he cracked a lot of great cases. Was one of those cases where it almost looked like he was almost having fun to the point where he was just on a hot streak. He ended up at one point receiving a very, very high level case from some nobles. It was not cracked. It went very, very badly. Where it should have went right, it went very, very far left, and the noble died. So when that happened, that ruined his reputation. That ruined his notoriety as being one of the great investigators. So he went into hiding. During this time in hiding, he picked up various drinking and drug habits, certain experimentation that went on in order to make him even more deductive than he already was, but not willing to admit that he's got a bit of a problem, and he'll never tell you that. That being said, he has an opportunity to be able to get back into the spotlight based off of everything that has transpired with the incident. So he's trying to make it a point to be around and do what it is. So he's probably heard of Dave via like various talks, rumors, the gladiatorial circuit, etc., etc. He makes it a point to keep an ear to everything that's going on. Back to my cigarette.
Makes sense. And there are two others that also travel along, and each in their own way very enigmatic people. One is sort of an unusual, like, young woman who very, very standoffish almost, keeps to herself in a very dry way, like feels like every question is sort of an interrogation, like resists anyone getting close, obviously, like has seen a lot and is pretty skittish. Dark Sheik, why don't you tell us about her?
I'll tell you a little. Not I won't tell you my name, and I don't really know much about where I'm from. So I kind of just move around a lot, and primarily as a thief, pickpocket, but also breaking into homes and saves, all the bad stuff, really, general criminal petty crime stuff. But I'm also a little bit of a stargazer. I think that there's a harmony to this whole world. I just don't really feel like I'm a part of it. So, and I kind of wish I could have done more, but here's where I am. So, and I'm not really sure what happened here. I'm hoping to find out one day. Good.
Well, if anything, the summoning and this unusual company tells you that maybe your destiny is greater than you originally anticipated. Clearly something is amiss here. It's a strange week, to say the least.
I'm kind of just here to rob whoever looks like they have money on this. That is my general intention and ambition. And to get it blamed on the ogre.
It is going to be, that's the ogre known for being, that sleight of hand, for sure. So, and lastly, we have, kind of in direct contrast to the enigmatic young thief, you have a tall and slender and very beautiful elf. Elves not known for traveling that far out of their home territories, but he is a touring jape of kind. He is actually a professional entertainer, so you have yourself a bit of spirit to go on the road. And I will let Anton tell me about his art and what he's like.
All right. So Lincoln, Link to his friends and people that know him well, is primarily a singer. He plays no instruments, should have learned how to play an instrument. So, he acapellas pretty well, but doesn't know how to play a lick of anything. Can't read music, unfortunately. Had a very rough childhood. Parents were low worth people. Dad was a blacksmith. Mom was a lady of the night. Very painful memories of his childhood. And then one day was discovered by mercenaries whose his actual parents were well-off sophisticants, high-born elves, whose child was stolen. And they found Lincoln and took him away from everything he ever knew. And they were like, hey, you don't ever have to work again. You got all the money in the world, which left him in like this really weird in-between. So where Dumas seemed to have a drinking and drug problem, Lincoln has a drinking and drug solution, which is do all of them. That helps him get through the day.
With a little help from Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
Roomies.
Go full Elliott Smith on this. Okay. Interesting, an interesting group. And it seems like the quartermaster and the teamsters and the cart leader don't really, they'll answer your questions if directly addressed, but they never go out of their way to be particularly friendly or outgoing. It's pretty clear that they feel that they have a job to do, and they intend to finish that and get home to their families as quickly as they can. They don't want to go where they're going, and they don't want to see what they've seen. You travel for 13 to 14 hours a day, you would estimate. It's difficult to know because the days go by slowly sometimes and quicker others, and sometimes the sun is hidden by mountains in the distance, or sometimes it feels like nightfall is obscured by trees. But every day you wake up and you walk. And that is the life that you find yourself. You know you're a good 9 days of travel still away, because they tell you every day, this is day 7 of 15. This is day 6 of 15. And they tell you each time how long it'll be until you've reached Knight's home, and it's going to be a while. One morning, however, as you wake up and you eat breakfast and you set along the trail, something is terribly, terribly wrong. Throughout this entire walk, you've gone through like deciduous forests, and you've heard the typical chittering of spring animals, birds sort of returning to the area, things like that. And those sounds have completely vanished. The only thing left is the sound of wind. And leaves are still there. Plant life still seems to be there, but animals have disappeared the farther along you've gotten. And as you wake up and the sun comes up, you've made camp at the top of a very large hill, so you get a really good visibility as the sun sort of burns off the fog in the morning. But this time, as you can see far in the distance, maybe a mile or two, the fog has not burned off at all. Going ahead, all you can see is rolling, thick, sort of grayish red smoke. And even as the sun comes up, it doesn't seem to be shifting. What do you want to do?
I say, it seems we found ourselves in a bit of a pickle.
Dave is actually still eating whatever was left over from breakfast and doesn't have much of an opinion on the smoke because he doesn't have much of an opinion on most things.
Fair enough. Kind of eating the leftovers as you walk. Seems like Dumas is considering whether it is a weather phenomenon or whether you'll even be able to keep the road once you find yourself in fog that thick.
I want to check on something that I got because I was looking at my talents.
Sure.
Secret signs.
Mm-hmm.
So let me control F that real quick.
Sure. I think that is in the chapter. It's at the end of chapter 6, I believe, is where those talents are.
Yeah.
And I'll bring that up for you right now as well.
No problem. I'm popping through.
Yep. Secret signs. And I'll read it to the other folks at home because they obviously don't have a book.
Please.
All right. Vagabonds, rural folks, and rangers use a series of intricate patterns to leave short messages, and you've learned how to read them. So basically, kind of the equivalent like road people would leave, like carvings and signs, like secret road indications, like sort of like American hobo culture has those like indications.
Okay, so I just wanted to know that. I wanted to make sure that was the same thing. So obviously this has my interest because I want to be the one to. I have to be the one to know what's going on. So I'd like to be able to. I just want to see if I'm able to make sense, if I'm able to tap into any kind of knowledge of that kind of red smoke or that area or whatnot.
Sure. Yeah, red smoke usually you would know from your interest. Do you actually have? Do you have? I can't remember if you have survival as a skill or not.
I do not.
Okay, but you do have the secret signs, so I think I can actually use that to your advantage.
Okay.
You're on a main road right now, and the signs usually exist to mark. Rangers will use them to mark good game trails, things like that. So one of the things that you've noticed is that the trees where game trails should be, the signs are still there, but they haven't been refreshed in a couple of seasons. And that's really weird. Like it's been a couple of years since anyone has refreshed the signs or done the game trails the further east you go towards Knight's Home.
So I'll ask this as a general question to like everybody. That includes like the people that we're traveling with, not just the party. But it's like, okay, I gotta get in it. I say, has anybody been here in a number of years? Anybody been here recently?
You know, the cartmaster actually says that Miriam is the name of the cartmaster, says that he traveled this road last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Lincoln, what were you going to say there?
No, I've actually never been here, and a little hungover from last night, so I actually can't really see what it is you're looking at.
Dave takes a moment and pauses what he's eating to look over at Link and say, "No one can see."
Fair, ogre.
He's got that much. He knows he can't see.
I look over at the nameless girl and pretty much I say, "Are you just going to stand there and be window dressing, or do you have anything to add to the conversation?"
I'm trying to think if I know of any folklore of heavy fog like that. Or maybe even kind of looking around to see if there's any trees maybe I could climb to see above this fog.
I think you have a folklore skill. If that's something that you're good at, that would be something you could roll a test on to see.
Yeah, that is a skill I have.
All right. So do you know how to determine your base percentage chance? Do you remember that?
Remind me, just in case.
Sure. All right. So it is based on, first of all, you have a number between 1 and 100 that's associated with that attribute under where that's a skill. It should be to the left there. I believe that is is that an intelligence skill or a fellowship skill? I don't remember right offhand.
It is an intelligence skill.
All right. So your intelligence number should be between 1 and 100. And then for every dot skill rank if you have in folklore, you add 10% to that.
Okay. So intelligence, I have 40 plus 1 for being human.
All right.
Understanding that right?
Yeah. And then you have a skill rank in folklore.
Whatever the beginner one is.
Okay. Yep. So you have a 50% chance of a base level of knowledge. However, this is actually a relatively easy test since some of this folklore is pretty common knowledge. So you actually have it's considered an easy test. So you have a 70% chance to succeed. So roll your D100 and tell me what you get.
Sure. I got 61.
All right. So because of that test, you are able to succeed. Red fog is an indication of usually like sea storms. It's actually something that is known to sailors. If you see this rolling in off of the sea, you know that rough waters and like big storms are ahead. But that's what's unusual, is that a red fog would never be seen inland, and we are days from the coast. This is not a natural phenomenon. This is like a sailor's bane, but far, far out.
Well, does anyone else? I don't see so well. Does anyone else want to like?
I would imagine, based off of the fact that we have this phenomenon happening, it'd be one of those cases where I would probably have to put it that like it doesn't take anybody of a high scholastic intelligence to know that we're probably going to run into an issue. So is there a way that we can possibly make a camp, or is there a nearby town before we get to where we're trying to go? Or anyone? I can't be the only mind here.
I think we need to get ahead of it. I'm not trying to wait for whatever the bad thing is. I want to get past whatever the bad thing is.
It is sort of in the direction that you are walking. It is towards Knight's Home.
That's called beating the storm.
So
in Duluth and other places.
So either we push ahead or we wait for it to pass. What says everyone?
You know how I feel.
I think that we should just plow through it. I mean, how much resistance can fog give? It's made of air.
What a brilliant deduction.
I'm here for you.
Dave takes another look at the fog and then another look at the party and says, I go first. Dave's not afraid of fog. Dave's going.
it's very far down the way. Like I said, it was probably about a mile away. So you're still talking like 3 hours of walking before you'll run into it, because you're looking down the valley. Basically, it's far away. So you can continue to walk and make that decision, but I'm going to leave that entirely up to you.
Well, if you insist on being risk takers, go forward.
Yeah. The Teamsters seem concerned there, but so many things about the world have changed in the last 10 to 20 years that they seem to be basically wary of almost everything.
I am going to go up to one of the Teamsters and that might be a little rough, but screw it. I'm gonna go that way. I'm gonna use interrogation to find out what I can know. Like anything that I could possibly know about what we're about to go into. Specifically the one that's been there in the last year.
All right. Miriam is his name. Do you want to a weathered man of probably 50 years? Still in good shape, has like stringy, like grayish hair, grayish peppered hair. Do you want to
I'm going to interrogate.
pull him aside?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and roll your interrogation skill.
Okay. So by the looks of it, all right. So 3 plus interrogation. So I got 4, and then out of D100, 78.
You got a 78% chance, and you rolled a 78.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Well, I got a 4. Well, like I got a. What is it? My intelligence is.
Use the percentage number, the one that's to the left of that. Like
okay,
like 41 or something like that.
It's 48. It's 48, but then I got a negative. But then I get 10% back. So it's 48. It's 48.
Plus 10%. So you had a 58 chance. That -1 only affects the damage, quote unquote. So you had a 58% chance, but you Normally you're able to outwit and sort of get in the minds of these people, but these people are so incredibly hardened. He says to you, "This is the world you live in now, boyo. It's just another thing on just another day." It's like, I said, they tell me to take you there, and I take you there. If he is afraid, he is not letting on. Let's put it that way.
Who tells them to take us?
That's a complicated question. I'd say you're answering for crimes, but I don't know that there's any law necessarily to enforce crime and punishment anymore. But they say somebody's got to swing, and I guess that's going to be you. He openly says this basically while looking you directly in the eye. An awkward silence overcomes the train. Even the people working for the Teamster feel a little awkward. The younger, like cartsmen, feel a little unusual. There are 4 of them, probably are all around your age. Referring to the age of the nameless one, younger boys, probably not really accustomed to this, but you continue to sort of crest the hill as you have this conversation. And it's impossible not to notice that as you're approaching and moving in that direction, that now as you can see sort of the base of the trees, that red, grayish, like clay-colored fog is moving towards you as you move towards it.
So onward then.
Attack it! Charge!
Dave has a spear. Dave probably has a hand on the spear if he's allowed by the trained people. If not, then he's just going in there bare knuckles. But he sees the fog. He's not afraid of the fog.
Nobody is stopping you from using or accessing your weapons. They don't seem particularly afraid of death.
All right. Well then, tight. He's got that ready to go.
Excuse me, dear chaps. I have to go back to I have to take a second if you don't mind. During this second that I'm taking, I am using this opportunity to get high.
Hell yeah. All right. I assume you'll be using you're intending to use the true detective ability?
Very much so, because I tried it sober and the shit didn't work out. So let's get it.
I mean, I can't say that it didn't. You were definitely on the right track. Sheik, what were you saying?
Can I use rumor to talk to those young kids about what's happening, or?
Yeah, while he's doing that, you absolutely can. Go ahead and roll me a rumor check.
Excuse me while I go off screen.
Okay. What am I going for now?
All right, so rumor is a fellowship skill. So look at the percentage you have in that. And then if you have a dot next to rumor, add 10%. I'm sorry, rumor is a fellowship skill. So whatever your fellowship score is.
I have 41% minus 1 for being human.
Okay, you don't need to worry about the minus 1 for this. Just you have 41%. And do you have a skill rank in rumor?
Yeah.
Okay, so 51% chance.
Okay. I got 11.
That is actually critical success.
Hey.
Whoa.
And the reason that is because anytime you succeed and the numbers match, it is a critical success. So if you roll 2 1s, a 22 would have been a critical success. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Anytime the numbers on both die match, you have critically succeeded. So I will you kind of have a hushed conversation because you probably both speak like You find someone who speaks in the same rough thieves cant that you do, someone who has a past that you share, so you can speak privately so they can be candid without worrying about it. And as you do that, I'm going to cut back over to Dumas, because the things that he is revealing will sort of be narrated by the same information you're receiving as this comes. So as you reach your inebriated state, Dumas, and the world opens itself, and you have reached consciousness expansion like your Timothy Leary, and you are doing you're reaching out to the world, and you can feel the trees and the plants speak to you, and you notice the wound that is the missing animals that should be all around. You keep focusing in on this rushing sound in and out, like heart going, like your heart's blood coming in and out of chambers. This sound of a whoosh in and a whoosh out, like a roaring tide, like something is there right on. As we cut back over to the nameless one speaking with this young boy, they haven't even exchanged names. They just have a default understanding. He says, "We've seen this before. Like the world breathes in, and then it breathes out. And when it breathes in again, nothing is left. It takes everything with it. They literally call this the breath." And Dumas is coming to sort of the same realization. This is sort of a localized, potentially cataclysmic event that is unfolding on the road before you.
I would just,
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
I would just like to say that after taking a moment to collect my bearings, that we probably should tread a little bit more cautiously. Don't mind me. I'm just tired.
Well, I would just like to say the next time you collect your bearings, remember that my name's not Skip, my friend.
Righto, right.
You know, if he's all that tired, like maybe I guess I could be convinced to also stay put for a little bit. Just, you know, because he's tired. You know? Sleep is important.
Yeah, and the days are exhausting. Dave, you find yourself sort of at the front of the caravan and a head taller than everyone else, and you sort of hear them talking about these things in like hushed, sort of ominous tones. What do you make of all this?
So Dave doesn't much, he doesn't fear the fog, but he doesn't really feel like going on ahead of everybody else because the cart is where the food is, and he's not doing anything without the food. So while he thinks that it's definitely some bitch-made shit that they're not going forward, he's fine with staying with everyone else.
Right. So is the idea to sort of set up a camp, maybe try to watch and see if the strange fog will pass?
How many men are in this caravan, like men that are traveling with us?
There are 5 teamsters, including their lead, their foreman. There is a quartermaster.
Okay.
And then there is the 4 of you.
So I will, of course, be as polite as possible. I can't help but be polite given my certain state right now. But in the midst of us trying to set up camp, I would implore that we if there's 5, there be a man on each side, almost like a square, so that we could take a look just in case that we're not ambushed tonight. Okay.
I think that would probably be wise.
I'm gonna
remember you had really only just departed breakfast, so you have most of daylight. ahead of you. Still, so you've got a lot of time in which you would potentially be able to set up overlooks or prepare for the evening. You've got a lot of things that you can do.
I don't know if I have an opportunity, but I'm considering sneaking off and exploring the private quarters of this ship, where this quartermaster and friends have their things.
Sure, it's a pretty simple like cart and a single coach basically. You're small, so you can definitely sneak into the coach or try, but it's sort of like one of those 4-door coaches with a wagon behind it. It's not an elaborate train. It's a pretty since there's only 10 of you, it's pretty small. But that being said, you could definitely try to sneak through and rummage through the personal belongings. They sleep outside on the ground on their bedrolls just like you do at night.
Well, if nobody needs me for anything, maybe I'll go make myself useful. Can you guys distract these? Maybe the entertainer, could you maybe dig up a force that could distract these goons while I go do some real work?
Oh, you know how I hate goons. Yeah, I can sing a tune or two. How much time do you need?
Now, I'll say this much. I don't know if I'd call what you do, young lady, work. So what I'll do is I will go this direction because obviously if I don't see it, I can't solve it, right? So you do what you do. I'm going.
Terrific contribution. What do you got?
All right.
Off my back, be a lookout for me if you could. That'd be great.
So, Dave, you were staying with the food, kind of wondering why it is that people are so easily stopping the progress and why they've decided to camp out here.
Precisely.
And Dubai, you are going into the woods to clear your head and sort of keep your mind on the focus at hand while the nameless one tries to.
I think what I'm gonna do since we're split kind of now at the moment, I'm not gonna go terribly far, but I do want to try to go just a little bit further in the woods to see if there's something amiss or something more that I can get than what we've gathered.
Yeah. Sounds good. And Lincoln is going to attempt to provide some entertainment and amusement for the team. Is that for the Teamsters specifically to try to keep them distracted from the pilfering? Is that what we've got going on here?
That's my plan.
All right. Let's start with the entertainer. I will say this is going to be a difficult test because people are under quite a bit of stress, as there may or may not be ominous death cloud descending upon them. So their desire to be amused is less than maybe it would be at other times. But you're pretty entertaining, so let's see what you got.
You're telling me. Cool. So what am I rolling? What am I doing?
Yep, you're going to roll dice, and you should have a skill or talent that applies to that. Do you have the name of your talent down for the entertainer? I know I sent you screenshots of it because it wasn't in the PDF version of the book. Did you get those?
Yeah, I got a. Let's see. Where are my talents?
Yeah, it should be your special ability, even.
I got the show must go on. Is that it?
The what?
The show must go on.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Hell of a song.
So,
or maybe Sam Smith.
Big fan of Sam Smith. I'm just trying to see what I.
Yep, I'm looking it up too. I'm pulling myself to that same page to help you out. All right.
Attempt a skill test related to your focus in the arts to perform for others.
Yep. So in that case, it's your singing ability.
Uh-huh.
But
it doesn't tell me what I'm rolling for. Oh,
nope.
FB, so fellowship.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So, yep. All right. So, yeah, it'll be it is a folklore test with a focus. So, what is your folklore score? Out of 100.
Folklore is there. That's an intelligence.
All right. I'm sorry. I meant to say fellowship. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
I said folklore instead. That was my mistake.
Oh, good. I'm learning. So fellowship score is 49.
Very good. So you have a 59% chance base. However, it's going to be a 49% chance because they are resistant currently to being entertained.
Okay.
So roll those dice. They're wary. They're wary.
Come on with it, man.
Bring it, you know.
Need that Randy Watson.
Bring that
I
A game.
got 30.
You have succeeded. They're enthralled by your song. You have drawn the attention, much to the irritation of the quartermaster and the teamster lead, who would prefer that they set up and do some work instead of listening to you. However, the opportunity is definitely there. They are both inspired, so if things were to come to blows, they will be able to fight for themselves better, and they are distracted away from what the Nameless One is attempting to do, which is to do some pilfering, I imagine.
Indeed.
All right.
Just adding in, Dave, delighted. Loving it.
Thank you, Dave.
He's an ogre of simple pleasures, and as long as you're not trying to bullshit him, he's like, oh, I like this one.
I could hear it faintly. I could hear it faintly from the forest. I look around to make sure that he can't hear me. I say, this motherfucker is spitting.
But he'll never hear that compliment, which is the only compliment he ever needed. That was the thing that he wanted to feel complete, and he'll never get that.
I say,
because,
good show, boy.
Yep, because he's about to show a picture of his wife and son, which means that he is almost certainly toast because he was also 2 weeks away from retirement.
Play the saxophone.
He's in a lot of trouble. No, we don't know about that. But
getting too old for this shit.
All right. So the skullduggery would be the most appropriate skill, but there are a few that you could make a case for.
I have a number of skills and abilities. But, I skulldug.
Skulldug is good.
Yep. I'm a skullduggerer. And also, hold out. I don't know. Actually, that's not maybe good.
Hold out is means you can hide a weapon on your person when people search you.
No, indeed. I have stealth and also larceny, if I'm understanding.
Yep. Stealth is for hiding more. Larceny is a special talent, but your base burglar talent is called Nimble Fingers, which lets you do skullduggery tests. Basically, skullduggery is perfect for what you're trying to do here because you're trying to pick through a lock and pick through things to find things to steal. And Nimble Fingers lets you do that very quickly.
Limb flamming.
Yep. So it is a skullduggery test, which should be under agility, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I need to put a character sheet in front of me.
I'm trying.
I keep forgetting. Skullduggery is an agility ability, so use your agility score.
Well, I have 46% agility.
All right.
That'd be 56.
Yep.
Alrighty then.
Roll that beautiful beacon footage.
I have 44.
That is a critical success.
I'm on a roll.
Yep. So, what is your agility bonus? The number that's next to the agility score in the AB category. It should be the number plus whatever your racial modifier is, plus if you've purchased any advances.
It's -1.
Okay. Well, it can never be -1. It's at least whatever the first number is. So 46, so 4, so your agility bonus is 3. It would be 4 minus 1.
Okay.
It's the tens place, basically, of your ability score plus any bonuses. And you can actually, as you level up, you can purchase bonuses to that with your class that will get you up into like 7 or to 10. You'll have huge numbers. So with that number, I was going to say you're able to steal double the amount that you normally would. So you were able to steal 6 silver shillings worth of goods.
Put that down.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a big day for me.
Yep. Keep it separate from your regular money, because you'll have to fence the things that you stole. They didn't have that in coin. You'll have to find a fence to turn that into cash. But that's the odds and ends that you were able to steal. Basically, dishware, silver, things like that, all stuff that you can turn into money. But you'll need to find a fence first. So, yeah. So, out in the woods nearby, Dumas, you actually happen upon something really fortunate. As you're kind of making your way through, you saw one of the secret sign paths and sort of used that to guide yourself off what had been like maybe a trail, and you find a structure out here. And it's not even a temporary structure like it would be like, it's not a seasonal hunter's camp. It's not something that's intended to be used and discarded. It's actually like a fully built home. It's made of wood. It has a foundation. You've come across a dwelling, probably 4 or 5 rooms. It's actually relatively large. It seems to be probably a rancher or a ranger's home that they've made out here.
Well, I found it. If there's something inside, they'll fight it. Let me go back. So I'm gonna go back to the camp. I'll try to gather everybody up.
All right. Everyone is sort of gathered and milling about as Lincoln has finished his songs. One of these times we're going to make you write one of those songs and actually sing it.
Dave is definitely still like humming his favorite.
Yeah. So what do you say? Everybody's gathered here.
Well, I'm glad that you all had an opportunity to kiki and ha-ha, but I have found something in those woods, and it is something that is very amiss. Very amiss. Apparently, there's some type of structure. I'd say it's about 5 or 6 rooms. And I don't know if it's something that either we can fortify in or if there's something in there, but I do think it's worth investigation. And given that I was more of the scholastic and not the, how do you say, combative type, I feel like I could use your help. So, anybody up for a stroll?
Dave's already on his feet. He's ready. He wants to fight something.
Yeah, I'll go. Could be something on there.
All right.
Yeah. Great song.
Sure.
In the part. Sorry.
And you, Lincoln?
Yeah, I'm done here. Did you hear my song, by the way? That was for you, in honor of you leaving to do more drugs. Thanks for the invite.
First of all, it's not drugs. It's a mental stimulant in order for me to do my job just a little bit better. And I might have heard it from it. It didn't come quite clear or whatnot. As you know, I was busy worried about other things. But that being said, let's go check this out. Hopefully we'll find something that's going on and you guys be in the front. Okay? I'll be the eyes.
I meant to tell you should be sure to mark off 1 day's worth of your deliriums. Since you have used it for the day, your supply has diminished.
Damn!
You still got some left. You're not out yet.
Oh,
all right, so as he's mentioned, you kind of find it not terribly far off the main road, basically just out of the sight line. on the other side of the road is what clearly seems to be a home. Doesn't seem to be in terrible disrepair. The wood has been treated probably within the last couple of years. It is not overgrown, but by the same token, there's a place where cattle would be kept, probably like a very small dairy farm, and that seems to be empty and abandoned. But there's no real sign that anything was struggled. Nothing has been given to rot or to entropy. All the buildings stand. It just seems like one day they left.
So,
Ava.
is the front door locked? That's the first thing I'm going to start off with.
Would you like to go up and try the front door?
I would prefer our nameless friend to try the front door, only simply because I'm sure she has the ability to be able to, open that thing up if need be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm not judging, I'm just observing.
I can get it.
Yeah. Why don't we start by everybody rolling some initiative? I think we should start there, and then we're going to decide based on the initiative order, like who goes in what order. What do you think about that?
What number dice do you need?
All right, it is on the second page of your character sheet. At the very top, you'll see that there is a number up there that says 3 plus perception bonus.
Okay.
And if that's not filled in, so whatever your perception bonus number is, plus 3 is your base initiative score.
Perfect. Okay.
What now?
And then you roll 1 10-sided dice and add that number to it.
Perception plus 3.
Also known as peanut butter because it's labeled as PB.
Perception plus 3, and then roll.
All right. Yep. What is your perception bonus number on your front sheet?
I've got that. Like plus 3, it would be 9. I just need to know the dice to roll.
Roll 1d10.
Okay, perfect.
Well, Dave's beat out because Dave is sitting at 9 for all that total.
9. All right.
He has a game plan, but it's real easy to beat him to it.
All right. Dumas, what did you get?
I got in total 15.
15. All right. And Lincoln Bright Eyes, what did you get?
17.
17. All right. And the nameless one?
I think 14.
14. All right.
Damn, the starting gun went off and he just sat there picking his nose, huh?
All right. And then I'm going to roll a d10 to determine the initiative of something. Something else has an initiative. All right. Okay, so we start at the top of the initiative order is the tall, slender, singing elf, Lincoln Bright Eyes. You are first. You find yourself about 20 feet away from the front door of this place. As said, it doesn't seem to be overrun, but it does seem to be abandoned. You all sit side by side near the front door. What do you want to do?
I'm going to assume everything's going to be fine, and I'm going to try to open the door.
All right. You walk up to the door. That's your move action. And then you use a standard action to reach forward and open the door. Rolling some dice. You feel the door's jam give. It feels like the lock and the mechanism is still in good place, and it opens wide, swinging with nary a creak, almost as if it had been maintained even just a day or two ago. And it reaches in, and not even a huge waft of dust sort of emerges from the foyer. Just darkness. It looks like all the windows are drawn and closed. Just inky black in front of you.
Everything's fine. It's just blackness.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. It is Dumas' turn in the initiative order. What would you like to do?
Everything is fine to join my entertainer friend. And I'd like to scrutinize the area with my looking glass.
Just sort of see if you can peer into the around the farm and into the house, or just sort of scan the horizon.
Right now, inside the house.
Okay. All right. Let's see. What there's a perception skill that you could probably use for this. I believe there's it's either a search or spot. I don't remember exactly what it's called right offhand. There's the eavesdrop is actually perfect.
Okay, perfect.
So you're attempting to eavesdrop onto the house. So take your awareness or your perception score.
So that'd be 63.
All right. Roll your 2d10 on that and tell me what you get.
2d10, you said?
Yep, looks like you're drawing D100
Okay.
with percentile dice.
Oh, I got a 100 right here. We're going for that.
Yep, that works.
And we're supposed to be going low.
You want to be lower than 63.
Okay, perfect.
Exactly.
Thank God. 13.
Yep. So as you scan across the doorway, you try to. Lincoln's head sort of keeps like popping into frame. Like, you can see his head sort of come way too into focus. He's sort of moving around and waving back at you.
I like
You
attention.
see this. And you sort of you can see through. It's very dark, but you rolled well enough that you can sort of see. It just looks like you can make out the dark room. You can see where the windows are. You're kind of scanning along the back wall of it to see if anything you can do. And BAM! A shadow jumps right into frame just as you do this, and you drop the spyglass like something has come into your vision, blocking one of the windows. I'm going to see if you react with any stress or fear from the fact that something living has just popped into your vision.
That's good,
I'll
dude.
be
Damn.
fine.
You're okay. You're shaken, but it's sort of like that scene in was it Signs whenever they're at the Mexican birthday party and the thing is comes out of the back. That's basically what just happened.
Okay.
Nobody sees it but you react with it's obviously a startling thing, but you're able to keep yourself together. Something is there. Something is definitely there. All right, what do you want to do? You still have a turn.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yep, you can still move, or you can tell the others.
First of all, I'm gonna slip on my knuckle duster just in case things get weird. Mama didn't raise no fool. And then second of all, okay, everyone don't panic, but something is in there.
All right. You hear this warning. Nameless one, you're up. You clearly see he reacts to something with a start, slides a knuckle duster onto his fist and says something's in there. And then it's to you.
Yeah, man, you got this. You're doing great. Let me know what happened. Dave, if you could I'm going to stand behind you and, go get him, y'all.
Dave nods kind of.
Dave Soul.
All right. Yeah, this is.
I think Dave,
you want to hold your actions here, basically, back about 20 feet away from the door. You want to get a weapon ready, just in case.
Yeah, I'll pull out Dirty Red and just keep it handy. Keep her handy.
I believe we might have a prop to show all of our players who are paying attention on the stream. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, by the way. If we haven't mentioned that recently, because we haven't.
In the trappings, I have a stiletto, which I learned was a.
Mm-hmm.
It is. This is Dirty Red.
There it is. Weapons in
Keep
hand.
that ready.
Just in case.
Right.
That's a good idea. That is a good idea. Because something like something hideous is here. So, all right. Moving on, we are now down to Dave. You are up. I'm going to press it Dave forever.
That's fine.
Dave.
So-
Sophie. Dave. What is Dave going to do to this?
So Dave's been having his spear out, so he's good to go. He's marching right in there. I have a question. Can I intimidate this thing? Or can I try to?
You can certainly try, but how do you plan on just like kind of coming up to the door and screaming at it to see if you can
Basically,
see if you
nice
can
little
scare it off? All right. What are you
door
gonna say?
kick, slam the spear down, big battle cry.
What are you gonna say? Just like bellow, basically?
Yeah, just a big meaty
Okay.
scream, lots of spittle happening. Real gross.
All right. I assume you're gonna use the intimidate. Sure.
Yes.
All right. Roll those dice.
All right. Which beautiful beans am I rolling?
It is a D100, and it will be your intimidate is a brawn ability, I believe. Is it not?
The 100%
Yep.
what I'm leaning on because I have
Yep.
good for that.
All right. So, do you have one of those circles filled in for intimidate? Did you buy that as one of your skills?
I didn't, but
Okay.
I have.
You'll be able to get one later, but for now, you just have your base brawn score then.
Cool.
So, whatever your percentage chance on brawn is, roll that.
All right, so got 50% on brawn.
All right.
Then I rolled a D100 and I got an 83.
You bellow into the room, just, terrible, frightening noise. And honestly, like, you would expect birds to explode out of the trees from just the shakingly, like, thunderous roar that Dave makes. Of course, it's a reminder of the fact that there are no birds, despite the time that it is spring. But you can hear it echo. Your bellow echoes down the valley in the direction you're traveling, and you hear it 3 times. It comes back to you. You look inside, and you can see this sort of slithering shadow, and you don't see any eyes or what it is looking at or where its gaze is, but it does not flinch.
I'd say that was an exercise in futility. Okay.
Question: Did Dave walk in front of me, or was
It
that
was
like
kind of
behind my
side
ear?
by side with you there at the
Oh,
doorway.
man.
You're kind of side by side. You're sort of just there. That probably was really loud.
I hope it's worth the noise.
All right. You see the shadow sort of starts to inch and sort of move, and it's sliding towards you. It's completely soundless, even with the echo still happening from the roar. You'd think you'd be able to hear its feet creak upon the boards or something. Nothing. And as it gets closer and closer, you see that it's short. It comes up to maybe like even your waist. It's just sort of like a shambling like mold, and it's sort of sliding your way. And the next thing you know, you see just a tiny, like, looks like a child's hand sort of inch out of the darkness before you can see anything else. And as you look to it and you start to wonder, maybe you've misjudged this, it comes right after your throat.
Tight.
Wait, whose throat? Dave's throat?
Yeah, Dave's throat, because Dave yelled at it.
Yeah,
All right.
Way up there.
So here we go.
Good ups on that thing, man.
The tiny fingers are not enough to wrap itself around you. You can feel it sort of cold hands strike and try to like wrap themselves around your throat, but it's like being strangled by a toddler. It can't seem to get a grip on you, and it has failed to strike. Still, pretty scary, pretty terrifying stuff. And with that, we are back to Lincoln. You see this happen, like this strange, like sort of monstrous shadow child has latched its hands around or tried to latch its hands around Dave's throat. What are you going to do?
First of all, I'm going to ask politely, Dave, do you need some assistance?
Dave says, fine.
Okay. So then I'm gonna pull out my sword. And try to chop its fucking hands off, if that's cool.
That is cool.
All right, hang on. I got a prop.
Oh, good. All right. So a link to the past here is going to come out and try to chop off the.
Well, proceed with caution.
Majora's Mask is actually next chapter. We'll get to that where you have to. The entire game will just be you learning to play Beverly Hills Cop on the Ocarina of Time.
There's an ocarina somewhere. Okay, yeah.
This is the content.
All right. But keeping with the seriousness of the demon child attempting to go ahead and make it should be a martial sword, I assume. It is a martial melee skill that you're using.
Yeah.
All right.
Combat is 44.
All right. And do you have a skill in martial melee? Did you purchase one of those with your first 3 abilities?
No, I didn't purchase anything because I'm stupid.
All right. Well, let's do that now. I'll let you pick the abilities you want. You can pick 3 of the things that are on your talent sheet. Would you like martial melee to be one of those things?
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right.
What have I been doing?
Yeah, you got a little bit of. I'll give you a bonus here for. You basically got to wait until you had it, but yeah. Go ahead and strike for now, and then we'll let you get back to picking your the 3 skills you want to start with from your list.
Okay.
And bear in mind, as you level up, you'll get all those eventually. But,
sure.
all right. So go ahead and roll that martial melee now at plus 10% to try to strike whatever this thing is.
Cool. I got 47.
47?
Yes.
All right. It is going to attempt to. What's your base chance? 55.
54. Yeah.
All right. So yes, you struck at it. It is going to raise its ghastly hand to attempt to parry your blow. We'll see if it succeeds. It failed miserably at the ability to knock away your blow. It sort of like swipes its unusual childlike hand at it, and you dig deep.
Yes.
So, do you have the stats for that sword handy? In terms of
No, I don't.
all right, so you need to roll a. I'll get that real quick.
Yeah, sorry.
Yep. What kind of sword was it? Was it a mortuary sword?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm switching to it real quick. You can imagine where I can only so far. Weapon quality, weapons. All right, here we go.
Folder and pulls out the
It is a martial melee weapon, mortuary sword. It is vicious, so it has a quality to it that will help. But yeah, go ahead. I need you to roll 1 10-sider and 1 6-sider, please.
You got
roll
it.
those separately together.
Separately together.
Yes. Don't roll a 13-sider basically if you're doing a dice roller.
So, I got a 10.
On the 10-sider, you got a 10?
Yep.
Nice.
I got a 6. Oh yeah.
All right. So that 6-sider actually explodes when you roll a 6 because that's the Fury dice. So go ahead and roll that 6-sider again and add that number to it as well for your damage.
6.
Oh my god.
Keep rolling it. Keep rolling
This
it.
one, it's a baby.
He's
This is what you get, baby.
Yep. Lincoln's been holding out on you. Lincoln's like a super badass, apparently.
All right,
A 4 on the last one. All right, so 12, 16, 26. And what is your combat bonus, your CB score from your front of your sheet?
The bonus is a
Oh,
All right, so add that to it. So is that 30 total damage?
yes.
I'll wreck this kid.
Yep.
damn.
You sort of, it tries to reach up to grab at your blade, and by doing so, the blade slides up its arm and digs directly into its throat, and you hear it cry out just like a child would.
Oh, and I love
You
that. I
cut
just drink
into
it. and-
You hear it cry as if like you get some real Pet Cemetery shit, like you've cut
Oh, God.
into. So we're gonna see if this child is injured, because the child took a very serious wound.
What?
There are injuries as well as damage, so it could take
Okay.
it can maintain like permanent like mange,
Okay.
basically.
I'm sorry.
That could happen
was-
to you too. Yeah, injuries and damage are two different things. It
Really?
has definitely been hurt. It is wounded, but it does not take a debilitating injury.
We are wrestlers. We understand.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't
Bro,
get
you're
it.
like, seriously? Combo breaker.
Yeah.
Immediately, you just hear it, and it cries and wails like it literally has tears, just like a child as you dig the sword deep into it. All right, Dumas, you're up.
First, I want to use whether it be education or folklore to try to deduce what this could be. Like any information that I could get by just looking at it.
You can't really see it well enough from where you are because you're 20 feet back from the door, and they're still sort of fighting.
Oh, okay,
in
so I still
the,
gotta go.
They're fighting in the threshold. All you know is that something has jumped out, and it's like this has all happened within like the last few seconds. It reached out for Dave. Lincoln sliced into its neck. It's really hard to tell. It's just too fast. Maybe
I'm
once the battle's over.
Cautiously going in.
All right, you're gonna advance just in a defensive stance, kind of get close.
Yes.
You can get up next to it, and blood is spilling out on the ground, but something is wrong about the blood. It smells like earthy and gamey, and the color seems wrong. Like it looks like it's grayish dark. Something is very off here. Do you want to take a strike at the child? You guys are always beating up kids in my games. I have problems. I really need to like do something about that.
These kids are wilding out.
So it's a full. So it's a full child. It's not just the hands of it anymore. It's like it's a full body child.
It was always a full body child.
Oh,
The
okay.
hands just emerged from the darkness first. That was for Flourish. You can see it. You can't really get a good view of its face yet because it's still sort of in the shadow, but this is all happening so quickly.
Got you. I guess I'll take a shot at it. Like probably try to see if I can get a knockout blow on it, so I can
All
look further.
Yep, give it a shot. That's going to be a simple melee attack.
That's correct.
Yep. And since you're using a pummeling weapon instead of like a war weapon, it actually uses your brawn bonus for damage instead of your combat bonus, which I know is good for you.
Okay. So 44.
Not as good as it is for Dave, who has like a crazy like brawn bonus. of
Apparently,
8.
yeah. 44, and then so 54, and then rolling this D100.
Yep.
Sorry. I'm just sitting here freaking out. Oh my.
32.
32. So you success. You can sort of hear the orbital bone of the skull sort of crack as you like punch into it. It doesn't have the ability to defend itself, and it doesn't cry out anymore when you do it. It just strikes in and goes full on. So roll a 10-sider and a 6-sider.
Okay.
Cry.
Excelsior.
Yep. And then add your brawn bonus to that number. And if you roll a 6 on the 6-sider, just like happened with Anton, keep rolling until you die.
I ain't got that kind of luck. 4. I got a 4 on the 6-sider, a 7 on the D10, and then the brawn bonus would be 3.
All right, so 14 total damage. You sort of hear it, like I said, it's like you can hear that crack of skull bone breaking underneath your knuckle dusters, just laying in. You kind of feel the body go limp as it slides down off of Lincoln's sword and it falls to the ground. It's still making some sort of noise, kind of a mix between a gurgle and a whimper. It's still there on the ground.
I'd like to, if I still got any move left, this is where I would like to give it like a closer look to see if I could identify like who the hell anything of it is.
You want to pull it out of the doorway into the outside so you can get a good look at it? Like it's kind of crumpled inside the house. Do you want to pull it outside?
Might as well, yeah.
All right, just grab it by the feet. All right, that'll be your last action for this turn. And as he pulls it through, it's the unmistakable form of, it's not a child like you thought at all. It's an unusual, like, smallish creature that they call halflings. But something is wrong with it. Like, it is experiencing some sort of rot. It still wears the clothes that it would have, and like it's got like a burlap like tunic on. It looks like it has workman's clothes, and of course now it's got a broken eye socket, so you can't really see like what its eyes or face was like, and it has a sword halfway that's dug a huge chunk out of its neck. So it's kind of a bloody like mess. And of course, Dave, for you, this is upsetting to see that. We're going to see if you react with any sort of stress from seeing a halfling basically like hack down in front of you. And unfortunately, you do.
No.
All right. You experience...
crying about hobbits.
You experience 8 mental peril for stress. You have that on your character sheet. It's one of your damage tracks. You should see that where it has your peril threshold is 3 plus your willpower bonus.
Yes.
You see that? All right, so what is your willpower bonus?
My willpower bonus is 4.
All right, so the first number in that should be 7, and then the next one will be 13. So you didn't hit 2 down the track, but you are imperiled. It hasn't gotten to the point that it'll affect your rolls, but you're stressed out. You got a little bit of freak out now.
Not loving it. Got it.
Pull yourself together. It was either that or it was you. Okay?
I was fine.
I asked you, and you said I should chop its hands off, to be fair.
Yeah, nobody's feeling, obviously, even if you're not feeling the stress, probably nobody's feeling super great about what's happening.
I'm feeling
but
I feel pretty good. I stayed out of this.
And Dumas, from your guess would be that this was at one point the proprietor, that this was the homeowner, that this was their domicile. What's confusing, of course, to you is why all of their things are gone. And he would still be here. Like if he fell to some sort of plague or rabies or rot, does he remain and nothing else does? It's confusing. That being said, it is we are at the Nameless's turn. What do you want to do?
Do I know any folklore about why everything's gone?
Like why everything would have disappeared?
Yeah.
Except for the... I mean... Yeah, I'll give you that one even as a free. You've heard of hauntings, obviously, where the ghost of a former, the spirit of a former property owner would continue to inhabit it long after everything had gone away. But this doesn't seem to be like a ghost because it has physical form. Nothing you would have heard about in terms of ghosts would match this description. This is clearly a physical body.
Sure.
And you can't help but notice that the sky... It shouldn't be. It's almost like sunset has come as you kind of look up, but it's way too early for sunset. We haven't even gotten to midday yet. But as you kind of look around and you see the trees one by one in the distance start to disappear as they are enveloped behind this home in this red enveloping fog. and it sort of feels like your ears are about to pop, like when you go on an airplane, or like the pressure of this place is gone. And this fog is hundreds of yards away, and at this point is now moving in fast. It'll be on you in a minute or two. And with that, it's 6:57, so we are going to wrap up the session as the fog begins to overtake you and trap you in this horrible place. But I wanted everybody to get the chance to say goodbye to our audience. I hope everybody had a really good time tonight, and to pimp whatever we need to have sold. You guys have fun?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sweet.
bugger.
So
Always at the good part.
Well, I mean that's not unintentional. You want to give people the reason to keep tuning in and see what happens next. So I really enjoyed it. Like I said, go ahead and everybody take a chance to tell me what you got going on. Tell the people. Somebody got to go first.
Yeah, I'm not doing a lot these days, I'm trying to like grow some vegetables, and like I got like some blueberries, some kale, radishes. One of them is just a rose. What's the other ones? Strawberry.
Living healthy.
Herbs, and and then I still. And turnips, excuse me. And no, the radishes. And then also like sometimes putting things online on Twitch or YouTube or WTV under Hood Slam and selling merchandise. So
cool.
Thanks for the time, and thank you for having me. I hope my character, who I am in this, is a little bit not easy person to be with. But I really did enjoy the whole time.
I think it's a perfect fit, actually. Honestly.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So
nice of you.
Sophie, you got any merchandise links for the folks? Anything out there?
So I'm on Twitter at Sophie King PW, also on Instagram. I'm about to ship out my first batch of pins, so if you want to check out my Twitter, you can see them and order them there. I'm also on PWTs with the shop name Sophie King PW. So
cool. Anton, what you got for us?
Hi, I'm Anton. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as the same name that I am on the Twitch stream. So bam, there I am. You can find me there and talk to me. I'm bored. I've been sitting at home for like 6 months because I broke my wrist right before the quarantine. So, message me. I have nothing better to do with my life. My merch can be found at the same place that Sheik's merch can be found. It's all through Hood Slam. Email hoodslam@gmail, or just hit up Sheik and be like, I want an Anton shirt. And Sheik will be like, I'll sell you a Sheik shirt instead. But don't let her trick you like that.
We're both on the shirt.
That's all I got.
And Sugar, Pineapple Pete. You got a lot going on these days.
I do what I can. At Sugar Dunkerton on Twitter, ProWrestlingTees.com/Sugar Dunkerton, so you can get the official Pineapple Pete shirt / all the classic OG Should D stuff. Other than that, just I take things day by day, so you'll see stuff that's going on. I actually have a series that's on Twitter, Instagram, and my Facebook called Eating the Defeat. Watch it. I put a lot of care. I put a lot of work in it. I Spike Lee that joint. So I be editing, directing, starring, producing, catering, doing the whole thing. So you want to check it out. And other than that, everybody be safe. Wear your masks where applicable. With the pineapples on the joint. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to coordinate. You know what I'm saying? Wear your joints. You know what I'm saying? Actually, it's supposed to be like this. I know we get Mortal Kombat-ish, and we want to do this, but no, you got to cover the nose. You got to cover the nose.
Got to cover the nose.
Okay.
Got to cover the nose. Don't Mike Pence it, is what you're saying.
The best comment that I've heard about that is wearing your mask like this versus like this is like wearing a condom, but cutting the tip on it. Okay?
Yeah. And the people who'd be doing that, we definitely don't want to be like hurting the integrity of their condoms. We'd prefer them to stop breeding if at all possible. I didn't say that. If you're one of our listeners, we didn't mean it. Journey Pro KC, all accounts. Watch our shows. Thanks again. Appreciate everybody. And look forward to doing it again. So, yeah, hopefully, Matt, you can take us out, and look forward to the next episode. We'll get that set up for y'all. We have a surprise guest coming in. I'm not going to tell you who, but it's going to be cool.
Oh.
So, yeah.
What?
We have surprise guests all the time. We're going to have surprise guests every couple times, and you have people come in and join us. So, yeah.
What?
All right.